Howdy, partners. Welcome back to What's on the Two. Or welcome back if this is your 10th Walker episode review. It's funny for me how Walker has 18 episodes. Every other show we've started with this season's about to wrap up in the next few weeks. And Walker's still going. I think Walker might go on until the summer, which is kind of crazy because the way this season was shot, and I'm assuming released, is that they're kind of really cutting close on the wire, in my opinion. That probably because of COVID delays and the fact the show started later into production, they wanted it to be a January launch. That's what I'm assuming. I'm not really sure what the post-production was for the show, how things are going right now. I don't even think they're done shooting the first season. That's the thing, which is kind of crazy since we're officially in the halfway mark of season 1. And, you know, that there's kind of still like, when is the next hiatus? When is the next one? Are we still that far behind? Because creatively, I'll give the CW credit for having so many shows in its roster now that, you know, if a show needs to go off the air for at least 2 months, they have another show to like do some run of episodes and then, you know, swap it off like they're doing with Superman and Lois and Supergirl. That was a smart move on their part. But when it comes to Walker, for me, it's just kind of jarring. Like, we had a great 5-week run, then we've just been having this 2 episodes and 2 weeks off, and then that sort of thing. It's really hard to kind of get into a groove on this show because I like Walker a lot as a show, and I want to continue having these, like, flowing episodes because it kind of feels like this episode definitely benefited from the 2 weeks off we had, considering the fact the episode itself had a kind of a considerable time jump, not that far ahead, but just a considerable one, where other ones where it's like, we literally could have just had you just move some things around. It would have been much better. But anyway, with this week with Walker, I'm very surprised on how little they tackled on last week's cliffhanger. I'm not surprised, maybe because I'm just, my expectations for Walker is just now a big question mark since I don't really know what to expect in the show next, because the thing that I thought was going to take up the whole season is now already done. And now we're exploring some new territory, and I'm thinking, wow, this definitely feels like stuff they definitely should have held over for season 2. But no, I guess we're just getting that in for the second half of season 1, which I don't mind per se. It's just for me a little bit of a jarring turn words. Like, this episode kind of really felt like not really a progressive episode on all fronts. This definitely kind of felt like not, I wouldn't call this a filler episode per se. This definitely kind of gave us some more setup and more churning the butter as we get to the more hopefully bigger stuff next week and then with the weeks after. That's my hopeful prediction, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, let's go through the butchered recap and talk about this week's episode of Walker. So we begin with Walker, his kids, the entire Walker clan, well, excluding Grandma Walker, she's not there this week, and even Mickey and her. Damn, I forgot the name again. This is exactly what I mean about the show. I think his name is Trey. Is it Trey? I'm not really sure. Because the thing is that about Walker is, I said this before at the top, is that it really is hard to kind of get a flow going. I think his name is Trey, but I keep forgetting like the minute details that I still need time to remember. So I believe it's Trey. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But if it is, okay, great. My mind still works somewhat. So they're basically they're remodeling the place. They're trying to make it more like a saloon, more presentable, more a family environmental strategy. It's still the same bar, but they want to put a little bit more emphasis on family. So they're doing a lot of like reworking. It's a nice bonding activity. It takes a bit of time because we jump ahead to 1 month later, where I believe by that point, yeah, it's kind of, you know, things are. I'm actually surprised we actually jumped a full month because again, with most CW shows, it tends to be week to week. Like, you know, it's a week of a break, or, you know, nothing conveniently happens for a little bit of a day, and then around the week mark, that's like, oh, last week, that sort of thing. We had a month off. And they haven't mentioned this yet, but Walker and Jerry has not really talked about their kiss since the night they last saw each other, which is a bit concerning for Walker since he's in this new territory, and we'll get to more about that in a second. And Stella hasn't heard anything from her dude, the son of the guy who Walker as Duke screwed over years ago, about a year ago. That guy. So it's still playing her like he's gone off the grid. He's not responding to her calls, and she's feeling, obviously a bit worried about the whole matter. And I believe later on, I don't remember how the order came. I know Liam is currently still trying to find some support for his upcoming DA campaign, but I think on the day he was supposed to meet with a potential sponsor, that sponsor instead backed his pony on another person who Liam doesn't really entirely trust to be DA. It's more of a power move than like an actually trying to make a difference move. And Liam isn't really entirely, because he's also being asked to support this other candidate as well. They don't know he's even considering running for DA, and Liam's like, this is obviously not what I'm believing in, so no, I can't support this dude. And so I believe from there, I'm just gonna get all the Liam stuff out of the way first because he's not really integral with this episode's like the other two major plots. We got a scene where Liam is talking to his dad about just state of affairs, about current things that are plaguing everything around right now. And then I believe, no, do we get another scene with Liam, or is that it? Damn, I think that was it. I think no, that definitely was it, because the Walker household is holding this meeting of people of well-known people in the state in the city of Austin. And this is where Liam officially announces that he is announcing his candidacy to become the next DA for Austin. With stellar response. Of course, obviously his new opponent is not entirely happy that he didn't just back him up on this play here. But oh well, to each their own. So on to the other subplots. Stella's kind of trying to find. Damn, I forgot his name. I really did forget his name. The guy she likes. She's trying to find him. He's off the grid. So Stella's number one point of trying to figure out where he is to go to the stable house where I believe he does have a room on site. So she sneaks in. She heads over there. She finds a toolbox looking thing with a bunch of old photos from when he was younger, just like nicer moments. She also finds a picture of her dad as Walker as Duke, and at the time when he was Duke, that undercover thing. And then she conveniently runs into his father, who's still in prison. And they have a couple pressing moments together because Stella's main priority is to find him, but his dad has already been burned by him since after everything that happened with the tornado. Apparently, he just came through, just said, "I need to get away from you. I need to start fresh somewhere." So he just disconnected all contact with him and just left the area. And he's not happy because it was Stella who kind of corrupted him into forgetting about their whole plan and their whole revenge scheme against Walker, which he's angry about since it was Stella who kind of changed his heart and mind on it. And I don't mind that, in a sense of him saying that's sort of him, but he is a bad guy, so I'm just thinking, yeah, this guy is, completely off his rails here. But Stella really pushing her luck. I legit got scared for certain moments that something was going to happen to Stella this episode. Thankfully, it didn't. But also, this guy's still a criminal. I would not trust, if I luckily got away from this criminal one time, I'm just going to leave and hope that God I would never have to be in a situation where I don't have to worry about if I'm going to get another opportunity to leave. But Stella eventually couldn't get anything out of him because for him, he basically considered his son to be dead to him since he abandoned his family for Stella's family. And, considering how things are, he just has to stay away from her. So she's kind of, up on a prairie here, like, where is he? And then eventually I think she gets a lead where another relative's nearby the area. So she goes over to see the relative, and it turns out he is hiding there. He's a bit shocked to how the hell did Stella find me? And then he tells her to run away since a group of very suspicious people start approaching the house and immediately try to beat him up. So I was actually legitimately scared for him, considering the fact that I remember a few weeks ago or a few episodes ago, we had Stella, August, that dude, and a bunch of other friends. Literally, I don't even want to call it they were on the cusp of something very terrible happening to them. And I know it's a CW show, so I don't think they'll ever go that far. But considering how things are going in the landscape of television, I really don't want to push my luck with that. So anyway, coming back to that moment, Stella immediately gets the opportunity to get to her car and to bust away from them. So she plows through the other dude. Not really, but like she just causes them to separate. He gets in the car, they drive away, and he tells a little bit more about why they're after him. It's apparently friends of his dad. So his dad's now basically out to kill his own son, which in reality is kind of really fucked up since like that's your own son. I mean, regardless of what he ever did to you, he's still your son. You really should not be harming a hair on his head. And also the other reason why he stayed away is that he really cares about her and he really wants to be with her. But the history with their dads is kind of putting a roadblock on like where could things go, considering the fact we will never have a perfect relationship on either side, which he does have a point on. He does have a point, but Stella's kind of left speechless as he says that. And later on, Stella visits the reopening of the saloon. She has a dance with her dad, who already wrapped up his story on the other matter, which I'll get to in a moment. Stella leaves with him in hand, and she's still like really concerned, like what does their future hold, since she doesn't want their father's history to weigh down whatever potential they might have. So she's willing to like figure things out in the future, but until then she wants to just drive away with him for the moment, just get away from life and everything, just kind of like have this clear conscience of just focusing on themselves. So they drive away off into the night sky as they do their thing. Onto Walker and his thing. They're Walker, August, Mickey, and Trey are ready to do another day of volunteer work to fix up the saloon. But before, also we get a little bit of an update on the concussion that Trey suffered in the last episode. He's still feeling some lingering effects, and he can't 100% drive yet because his hands are not 100% yet, so he's not able to drive. So by the time they get to the saloon, Mickey gets a call from one of her old trooper buddies, or someone did she know the connection. She knows that there's a recent case that has a very suspicious similar MO to a case that she was kind of pushing for back during her trooper days. So she nominates her and Walker to go and take over the case. So her and Walker are basically back on Texas Ranger duty while August and Trey kind of just finish wrapping up the entire saloon reopening. We only get one real little scene between August and Trey where August is just trying to be a friendly dude and trying to just teach him how to flip a bottle. And something happens with the bottle, but it's clear that Trey's still feeling some really bad effects from the concussion he suffered during the tornado. And then he tells Mickey later on at the end of the episode that, yeah, he still has this issue. And he's trying to be the go-lucky dude, like the happy guy, and not try to be all so down and gloomy like everyone else seems to be on the show. But this is the reality of the situation, so he does need to tell that there is a chance I may not be 100% again, that this might have affected me for my whole life, which, again, another true fact in life. Like, you just never really know what's going to happen. But Mickey's obviously being understanding, is like, yeah, of course, I understand that, that this won't affect anything. So I'm happy for them, ever so. Now back onto the main case, because I feel like my throat is, for some reason, closing out. I'm just feeling very out of it. Plus, I've been up since 7 a.m. in the morning, doing a lot of things, so I'm already a little bit tired. But so, anyway, on to Walker and Mickey. So they head out back to the station. Captain James is not on this week. Another COVID-related, like, take a vacation, go do something else. So they head up the area. Mickey's being very overeager about this case, even though this is being pitched as just a last-minute thing. It turns out this case was a very similar case to when Mickey was a trooper, when there was a bunch of stolen instruments that were being sold off, and Mickey had the suspicion that this famous local singer is the culprit, but no one believed her during her trooper days, and no one was even willing to give her like a fair investigation. So it was kind of left unresolved in Mickey's head. So now that Mickey has an opportunity to potentially catch her or this thief, she really wants to be the one to be able to put a close on the case. Walker's just there because, like, sure, why not? He just needs to get his mind off things. Oh, God, that fucking scared me. Oh, God, hold on. This is not Legacies. Okay, there we go. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah, so Walker does give her a bit of an update about the whole Jerry thing. That I'm actually surprised Walker kept this in for a whole month. Walker's usually a chatterbox like I am, so I really don't hold in that many secrets for that long. Someone is gonna bound to know eventually down the line. So I'm actually surprised Walker didn't tell anyone until Mickey for a whole month. That's like, damn, man, can't keep a secret after all. I still wouldn't trust him on anything though. So he basically tells us the whole gist about the kiss with Jerry, and that things are still a little awkward because, they kissed, but they never talked about it after that. She just left town, and, he doesn't know, like, what's next, like, what is next for them. But he said, I'll handle it somewhere. And Mickey's like, okay, that's fine, because I'm pretty sure she doesn't want to hear, like, any more of, Walker's problems for once, because we're a whole first half, dealing with that. It's time for a little bit of a break. So once the notion of Mickey's potential suspect on this very famous local legend singer comes up, so they go off to go check out one of her small venues in the nearby area, and she immediately recognizes Mickey, and they catch up about the whole, like, yeah, you blame me, and you never really had anything because I never did it. And she's finally cooperating a little bit, like saying, well, there was this one guy. Or not yet. Like, I think they did mention there was like this one guy who she trained in secret, but it never really worked out per se. So they decided to go head up to her house to see if, like, anything is suspicious. Nothing really is until they hear a weird noise coming out of the attic. Turns out the dude was already freaking there. So they try to chase him down. They initially managed to pin him down, but he manages to do some cool parkour tricks and kicks their ass and manages to get away. They tell the singer about the guy, and she's presuming that, oh, it's Rex. And how the fuck do I remember Rex's name? I don't remember the singer's name. I don't know, man. I really don't know. My brain works in a mysterious way. You can't predict it, really. You really can't. So she says that he's been an up and coming singer, but because things are expensive to break into the music business, like such as equipment and getting a recording studio rented out, that sort of thing. So she's assuming that he's stealing all these instruments so that he can sell them off for money, so he can pay for these things. Which is honestly, I really don't agree with. I really don't. I think you should just work hard and just get a job somewhere for the moment just to get money so you can live and support this hopeful future dream of yours. So I mean, that's my recommendation to him, but what can I say any further? Eventually they decide to use a small concert, or a small, like, surprise concert as a kind of like a signal for him to come over so they can catch him again. But during the small performance, the singer collapses on the ground because someone spiked her drink a little bit up, so she's not feeling 100%. Damn, Mickey heads to the back to check on one of the instruments they had for as a kind of like a lure. That's already been taken. The security guards are already freaking knocked down. I'm like, Jesus Christ. What kind of security guards are these that, like, they literally get knocked out that easily? Like, these are kind of like the weirdest, worst security guards I ever seen. But thankfully, Mickey and Walker managed to capture him pretty easily. He doesn't really do much to escape. He just surrenders almost immediately, and that's kind of already now open and shut in that certain aspect. Later on in the saloon, Mickey and that singer have a conversation about how things were before and how things can be now, and she promises Mickey that she's gonna write her a song, and that's gonna be kind of like a thank you for, like, finally putting this guy away, that sort of thing. And then and after that, Walker comes in once she leaves so she can go perform for the saloon. And Walker once again goes back on the topic of Jerry about how in the last decade it was always Walker, Emily, Hoyt, Jerry. That's kind of been the dynamic for forever. So now having the possibility, like, things can be different since Emily's gone and Hoyt's in jail. There does definitely exist the opportunity, like, where do they go from here? Because, like, yeah, it's been a year for Walker, so he's pretty much kind of gotten the green light to, like, yeah, you can start exploring things in a post-Emily environment, but I don't think he's ready for it yet, because, like, yeah, he kissed Jerry, but that doesn't make it 100% like, oh, I'm ready to be in a relationship. Like, don't completely, believe me, I understand that 100%. Like, that doesn't equal it always. So in Walker's case, that question of like, is he ready for it is a bit, up in the air, but he needs to talk to her still because, they've been best friends since forever. So, but they head inside first after Walker tries to make a call to her, but, her voicemail is kind of packed. So Walker's left a little bit disappointed, but eventually while he's dancing with Stella in the saloon, he finally gets a text from her saying that Hoyt's getting out of jail tomorrow. So not only is Jerry going to come back to town, Hoyt's coming along too, and that big umbrella of like, hey, we kissed is going to be a problem. I mean, at least they didn't sleep together. At least. That's what I'm going to say. The episode doesn't quite end there, but that's the way I'm ending it since that's the way I structured it. So there you go. That was this week's episode of Walker. So now looking back on it, it's definitely not a filler episode. I mean, the whole like it was a fun mystery that Walker and Mickey got to solve. It was a fun little mystery. I really got that. The little the scene with Stella and the guy were honestly reminded me of like this Romeo and Juliet type affair. Like, our parents are enemies, and we shouldn't be together, but we should at the same time. And how will this end out? I really don't know. It can go any which way at this point in time, but we'll see how it goes next week. I was a little bit baffled the fact they didn't 100% tackle on the Walker Jerry kiss this week, because it seemed like the promo they were airing was like kind of setting that up, like, oh, this is going to be like a major conversation piece, but no, it was very not really talked about. They're probably going to say all that for next week, hopefully. So we will get some conversations there. And what happened after the kiss, because remember, we didn't know what happened after the kiss. Like, they just kissed, episode ends, next episode, it's been a month. So there's still a lot of, big question marks on where things can go from there. So keep that in mind. But I think this was a very fun side episode. It just had a lot of humor in it, a lot of, still a little bit of heart in there. So I really did appreciate it. And I'll give this episode about 1.5 thumbs up. About that, I'm about that life. You know what I'm saying? I think that's going to do it for me tonight, everyone, because this hat's starting to get strained on me. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the first season of Walker. If you want to know what we're doing overall, What's in the Tube besides our Walker reviews, we're doing Rookie Season 3 episode reviews each and every Monday morning after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on ABC or on Hulu the next day. We're also doing Nancy Drew episode reviews each and every Thursday morning after a brand new episode on Wednesday nights on the CW, or free the next day on the CW app. Starting tomorrow, we are kicking off our What's in the Tube Saturday time slot. That's right, for about a month or so, we're going to have 4 episodes of What's in the Tube. Count them, we're doing 4. What does that mean entirely? So tomorrow, next week, well, first, let me start off. Next week, High School Musical, the series, will be returning back to Disney Plus for Season 2. So we will be reviewing each and every episode like we did for Season 1 back in 2019 when we started this whole journey. So to get us ready for that Saturday time slot, which will be normally would be reviewing an episode per week, tomorrow, to get us back into the world of High School Musical, well, just High School Musical, the feel of it, the singing, the dancing, the drama, that sort of thing. We're going to be finishing up the High School Musical trilogy with High School Musical 3 senior year. I know technically that was not a made-for-TV movie. I technically know that, but guess what? I'm not going to leave that alone, so we are going to review it tomorrow. It's probably going to be like one of the rare movie reviews we'll do on What's in the Tube, a TV review show. So that'll be it. So that'll be tomorrow's What's in the Tube to kick off the Saturday time slot. So stay tuned for that. But if you only care about Walker, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another episode review, which will be interesting. Hoyt's back in town. Jerry's back in town. What's going to happen? I don't know. I really don't know. We'll find out next week. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of us, please subscribe to ActionX on youtube.com/ActionX. Ring that bell for notification when our next episode review is live. Like, favorite, share this review if you haven't yet, because it helps us get us out there to other members of the Walker family who have yet to discover us. It helps us fix that, the YouTube algorithm that always plagues my fucking mind, as well as sharing is always for free here on YouTube. And follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of update for the channel. Follow us on Twitch if we ever get back to streaming, if I still have to fix my Elgato or get a new one. But until then, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of this week's episode of Walker? I'm always open to conversation down there below, so please shoot a comment. And yeah, so with that being said, for all you members of the Walker family, I'll see you all next week on the next episode review. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.